Hey, what's going on everybody, and welcome back to the Whiskey Cove. And on today's episode, we have part 2 of the ultimate Heaven Hill tier list. You know the drill, run that video. Alright then folks, let's get into today's video there. And much like the aforementioned intro, if you haven't seen part 1, go over to the Whiskey Cove's YouTube homepage and go over and check out part 1 of Heaven Hill's ultimate tier list there. And then watch that, come back and then watch part 2, which is what we're doing here today. So last week we talked a lot about the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, some Larceny Barrel Proof, some Bernheim, Evan Williams. And on today's episode we have a phenomenal lineup. We have maybe some more of the rarer whiskies if you like. And we'll kind of get through them as we go along here as well. And there's definitely going to be some ups and downs in this video here. And if you'd also like to see maybe some other tier lists, I'm just thinking which other ones I have which are pretty complete in terms of distilleries. Maybe Russell's or Wild Turkey, we can do one of those, or maybe like a Four Roses or a High West, that could be a really good one there as well. So if you'd like to see anything specifically that you think that I might have, comment down below and we'll see if we can get that going there. With that being said, let's get into today's video and let's start by doing Elijah Craig Toasted. Oh, by the way, in the glass I'm drinking Maker's Mark FAE01. Now that the Maker's Mark wood finishing series is all but done, which I still haven't got the new one, the ECB, whatever one it's called. I'm just trying to drink the ones now because they're kind of like done. I'm not really going to be doing any more videos with them, so that's kind of what I'm working on, if you like. With that being said, let's do the Elijah Craig Toasted. So, the Elijah Craig Toasted, MSRP is around $50, which is pretty good and pretty well priced for a toasted whiskey. In all truth, I probably prefer the Old Forester 1910 over this. I'm also very seasonal when I drink toasted whiskey. Think back end of the summer, going into the fall is when I usually will uptick on toasted whiskey. With this one, it isn't the easiest bottle of whiskey to find, but I've been seeing it a lot more in Colorado and I've just been passing on it a bunch. I do have a backup there down here. For me, it's pretty good, it's pretty solid. Let's not take a nose here. I don't quite remember what it's like. I haven't had it for like 6 months. Yeah, it's pretty approachable. You know, if you like the Elijah Craig profile and you're looking for something maybe a little bit more sweeter or a little bit more burnt sugar, then this might be for you. For me, I'm putting it slap bang in the middle of the road. What is the middle of the road, you might ask? Let's talk about those tiers. Top tier is S, then the one below is going to be A, B, C, and D. I'm going to put this Elijah Craig Toasted in the B tier, so right in the middle of the road there. I think it is what it is. It doesn't do anything special, but I think it's better than okay, which is why it's going in that middle tier there. Next up, we're sticking with Elijah Craig, and this is the last Elijah Craig that we will do, and that's going to be the Elijah Craig Rye. So much like the Elijah Craig Toasted, if you like the Elijah Craig flavor profile, I think this might be for you. Much like other big brands who do ryes, it's almost just like they feel the need to have to do a rye in their lineup. Think like Buffalo Traces, E.H. Taylor Rye. These are not really true ryes, so they're like the rye style, which is why I think if you like the Elijah Craig like kind of flavors, then you'll like this because it's not too rye heavy, it's not too rye forward. It's another bourbon drinker's rye. I personally think this is just okay. I'm going to put this in the C category. It's not the bottom category, it's just okay. It's a little bit, for a rye for me personally, it's kind of like a little bit bland, it's a little bit flat. So that's going into the C category there. Next up we have Heaven Hill 7 Year. So I have had this a bunch of times before. I've had it in flights with Henry McKenna, with E.H. Taylor Small Batch. So it is a 7-year bottled in bond bourbon. It's a great alternative actually to E.H. Taylor if you can't find that, but it's just not as good. I think this is a good whiskey, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's winning any awards, or it probably has won awards, let's be honest. Most of these top companies or top breweries enter whiskey into competitions and they always win awards. Awards mean nothing really anymore. If anybody says, oh, but this whiskey has won 1,000 awards, it really doesn't mean anything because whiskey and bourbon is all based upon different people's opinions, and what I like and what you like might be two different things. But try to align your palate with other folks who might have the same palate and just use their recommendations as ones to go for. So for the Heaven Hill 7, I'm going to also put this in the B category, right in the middle of the road there. It's easier to find in Colorado than most states, but for me, it's like I said, it's a good alternative, but it's just not as good as some of those other whiskeys out there. But I think the B category is an excellent place to be in. That's, it's a nice little, in between the two, kind of right in the middle there. It's a good place to be. B category here. So next up, we have Henry McKenna 10-year. So Henry McKenna is a pretty cool bottle in the sense that it's bottled in bond and has a 10 years age statement, and it's also a single barrel. So that's it's got a lot going for it. So if you're someone who likes to kind of have, I wouldn't say gimmicky stuff, but kind of likes to get a whiskey that's a little bit special, you can definitely find some really special Henry McKennas. But I would say on average, every one Henry McKenna you'll get, which is great, there'll be two which are just okay. That being said, if this was retailing still at like $35, this would be in the A category. However, just because it's just the price has just gone up and maybe some of those barrels have just become just okay, this is also going in the B category. And I promise not every whiskey that we do today will be going into the B category. However, for this, it's going into the B category there. Next up, we are doing a couple of bottles I don't actually have. They'll all be represented by this Evan Williams single barrel bottle. I like to have a bottle in front of me. However, we're going to talk a little bit about, first let's do the Rittenhouse Rye. I don't have that, but I love the Rittenhouse Rye. I think it's very affordable. It is a fantastic cocktail mixer. If you're someone who loves a Manhattan, put that in there as well. Rittenhouse Rye is definitely in the A category for me. Very findable, very tasty, and excellent rye. And then the other rye that we were going to do, and that's going to be Pikesville. I think that's also much like the Rittenhouse, an excellent rye. Someone came up to me and they said, hey, best ryes, give me 5 best ryes under $50. Rittenhouse Rye and Pikesville will both definitely be there, and that's why they're both in the A category. So Pikesville is definitely going in the A category there. And then also the last bottle that is represented by this Evan Williams is going to be Mellow Corn. Mellow Corn has a little bit of a cult following. I'll be honest, I've never owned a bottle of Mellow Corn, but I have tried it a bunch of times because people keep wanting me to blind some good whiskey up against Mellow Corn, thinking they can try to catch me off guard. However, I think it's a great whiskey. It's pretty cool. It is what it is. I'm going to put it in the B category, right in the middle of the road, cheap, cheerful. You can find it in most places. It is what it is. It knows what it is. It's a fun ball, and it's just cheap, and it's quite tasty. And that's where Mellow Corn's going in the B category there. So with that being said, let's step it up a gear and let's get some hitters on this list. Let's go first with Old Fitzgerald 9-year. So when I first got this bottle and cracked it open, I actually did it in a series that we used to do on the channel called Flying Blind, which is where my wife used to pour me a glass of whiskey blind, and I'd have to use some criteria and try to guess different things about that whiskey. And when she opened this, she opened this bottle. I didn't get to open this bottle. It's kind of stuck in there a little bit at this point, but I thought it was just, it was just okay. It wasn't really much going on. It was kind of like, kind of tasted like the Heaven Hill 7 cross between the Evan Williams single barrel, if you like. However, when I've gone back to it, it's definitely gotten better. The flavor profile has definitely got more sweeter, more rich, more well balanced, and that's why I'm probably putting this specific Old Fitz 9 in the A category. I do think this is probably one of the sweeter spots. I think when you get up there with some of the older Old Fitzes, not that I haven't cracked my 19, which is why that's not going to be on the list. I believe, had the 15, I think it is, and I thought that was probably not as good as the 9-year, which is why this is going on the A category. Price, yes, can be a little bit pricey. However, if you can find a fair amount of IP, you get a whole lot of bottle there as well. So Old Fitz 9 is going into the A category. 2 bottles left, and let's go with Parker's Heritage Carousel finished. So I actually got this from the distillery, which is quite cool. So I went there, and this is some advice for you folks out there. If you are doing the Kentucky Bourbon tour, maybe go to Heaven Hill and do like their tastings that they have. They'll offer you a bottle to buy at the end that might not be on general sale. We were really fortunate when we were there because this was the bottle that they were advertising the sale. I think I paid like $130 for it. And there was like a group of people that were doing the tastings. They weren't with me, but they were on the same table. And they were like, oh no, sell us the Henry McKenna instead. And they didn't want this bottle. So I had them buy 2 bottles for me, so I ended up coming away with 3 of these guys. I brought one back for a friend, I drank one, and I have this one left. It has some really nice orange notes there. If you're someone who doesn't like orange in the flavor profile of a whiskey, then you're not gonna like this. It definitely, the ABV is higher on this, it's 55%, so it does a good job of cutting through that orange sweetness, but it definitely is more of like an orange vanilla sweetness there as well. So think maybe like a Grand Marnier. I see, I think it might be finished, no, it's finished in orange Curacao barrels, but it definitely has like some vanilla orange Grand Marnier notes there as well. I really like this whiskey. I love Parker's as well. This is why this is going into the A category. So then lastly, we have one more bottle on this list, and this is the last bottle of the whole Heaven Hill Ultimate Collection. And like I said, if I haven't tried a bottle, I'm not going to recommend it, or we're not going to talk about it. It's only if I've tried them. So this is going to be the aged 11 Kentucky Straight Wheat Whiskey. I know this is interesting that I wonder if they use the same distillate for this as they do with the Bernheim that they just released, the barrel proof. Yes, this is coming in at 61% ABV, so it's definitely higher than the Bernheim barrel proof, which is like 59%, but potentially negligible. So this is aged for 11 years. This has everything you want. It has some brilliant burnt caramel notes. You get that beautiful kind of like nice fresh cut grass note. I know that might not sound appetizing to some people, but when you blend it with the other flavors, it just comes out beautiful. And that's why this is going into the S category. Yes, the price on it is a little bit pricey, but you get a hell of a lot of bottle. These Parker's Heritages, I've never tried a bad one, albeit I've only tried these 2. They've both been great as well. They're very difficult to get a hold of. However, I can't not put this in the S category. So like I said, that was the last bottle of the Ultimate Heaven Hill tier list. If you'd like to know more, if you'd like to see more of these tier lists, please comment down below and we'll see if we can get some going. So as we drink through the world's whiskies, one glass at a time, cheers.